we're going to section off the hair so that we can build the foundation for some crochet braids. For any protective style that you do, you want to make sure that the hair and scalp is very well moisturized. In this portion of the video, you will see that my hands get very oily because she has moisturized her hair very well from the tips up to the roots of the hair with coconut oil. You can use something as simple as coconut oil, olive oil, just something that is going to make sure to moisturize the hair, to not leave it dry, especially when it comes to the ends. As you can see, there's a section at her nape that's a little bit weaker than the rest of the hair. This portion of her hair tends to break easily, so we're going to do the back a little bit different than we would the front so that we can protect that area and not create any more breakage or weakness as she wears this style for 4 to 6 weeks. As you can see, I'm creating my part at a bit of a slant, and the reason being is because most people's edges are a little bit fragile. Hers are very soft, similar to her nape area. It doesn't break as easily as the nape. However, this area is very sensitive, so when you're braiding or crochet braiding, you want to make sure to take less tension off the hair by creating either a slant or a portion where it's not directly on the edges so that you can preserve the hair and still have a style that is very seamless and protected. You can see, as I said before, a little bit of the oil coming off of her head, which is a good thing. Don't think that if it's too oily, it's bad. No, you want your hair to be very well moisturized during this process, especially if you're leaving it in for longer than 3 weeks. You want to make sure that the hair is secure and it will not break while it's put away. At the top now, we're going to create smaller braids that are closer together. I want to give her the options to wear her hair in different parts, but I also want to lessen the visibility of the scalp. We finished the top and this is what it will look like. And now we're going to start on the back. If you remember when we were doing the sectioning, I mentioned that there was a spot at the nape that was weaker than the others. So we're going to focus on protecting that area first. So we're going to start by sectioning this portion off to start what is called an anchor braid. This braid is going to serve two purposes. One, it's going to serve the purpose of giving a seamless look when she decides to put this up in a ponytail, and it's also going to protect the hair at the nape that is fragile. When you have an area of the hair that is weaker than others, you want to protect it. In this case, we're going to start braiding a little further up from the nape area to protect it. We don't want to put any stress or strain on that area as it is fragile and will break during this process. To securely tuck this braid, we're going to add it to the cornrows that we're going to form at the top section of the back. We are also going to add in the cornrows that we did at the top of the hair to our braid, and we're going to make sure that they're securely tucked into the braid as we braid down to form our foundation for our crochet braids. Once we finish this braid, we're going to take it and tuck it into the next braid, and so on and so forth. I will demonstrate what I mean when I get to the last braid on this section. As you can see, we have tucked all of our braids into each cornrow. So now we're going to do the same, and I'm just going to show you how I did that. So here's where we're actually going to tuck the braid in to the cornrow that we're making. And when we're done with this braid, we're going to do something special with our crochet needle and tuck this braid into our existing braids. Okay, now we have our crochet needle, and as you can see, it has a latch hook at the top that opens and closes, and we're going to take that and stick it underneath the braid, put the hair in, and close it. So now underneath this braid, we're going to take our crochet needle and make sure that we clear the braid completely, secure it through the loop, and pull it through. We're going to repeat this process until we've tucked all the hair in to the braid. You want to make sure that you clear the braid, and what I mean by that is that the needle, when you're sticking it underneath the braid, it doesn't snag any hair. This is the Serenity Naturals hair growth oil. It has properties in it that not only stimulate hair growth, but it also allows for the cuticles of the hair to be very well moisturized. There's castor oil in here that stimulates hair growth. There's some other things in here as well that will combat the dryness of your scalp. So I would suggest using something like this on your scalp first. You can use a basic castor oil on your scalp if you'd like to, and then follow that up with a butter. This is the Serenity Naturals Shea Butter Hair Dress, and it is, here's the thickness of it. You basically are going to take this, put it on your hair towards the end. So you're going to take it and work it from root to tip if you'd like, but mostly focus on the ends when using this before you get your hair braided or any type of protective style, even if you're not adding hair. What you want to do is make sure the hair is secure. Now for the fun part. We're going to take our crochet needle and our hair, and we're going to get started. So what you want to do is take the crochet needle again and make sure that you clear the entire braid. Now I'm starting at a section that is close to the end but still underneath the braid. You want to make sure that you're not just crocheting on top of hair, because as the hair grows out, it will slide off and it will also damage it if it's too tight. So we're going to take our loop that we've made here, and we're going to put the other end securely through the loop, twist the loop, and pull again. Straight through the loop and tighten that section. Now, because this hair has a little bit of slip into it, I'm actually going to make a separate knot from the knot that I've just made. So let's continue to fill this braid up. We're going to do another section, and we don't want to put them right on top of each other, but just a little bit further from the first one that we did. We're going to put it through the loop, secure it, and pull it through. Now we're going to take the hair on the other side and pull through our loop, twisting the loop and pulling through again. This creates the knot that you see and secures the hair onto the braid. And now we're going to make our separate loop again just to make sure that the hair does not slide. When you're doing an anchor braid and you're creating a space for the client to be able to pull their hair up into a ponytail, you want to make sure that less of the braid is showing. So we're going to go ahead and fill it in just a little bit more, but we're not going to put the hair too close because we don't want it to create a heaviness on that braid. When we're done, it should look like this in the back. We're going to do something a little bit different in the front. Instead of going underneath the braid, we're actually going to go on top of the braid and go down into it. So this allows for our knot to actually be on the opposite side versus facing up. The reason we do this is to make sure that when you get up to the top, if she wants to wear her hair in a deep part or any kind of way towards the front, that you don't have so much of a bulk. When you go underneath the braid, the knot sticks up. When you go on top of the braid, the knot lays down. When wearing something like crochet braids, you can always use a net around the head. You can basically take that net and sew it around the head using hair thread, not regular thread, and a hair needle. And do that in order to protect the hair, and that way you're not putting so much tension on the actual hair while you're wearing your protective style. You can actually crochet through the net versus putting it directly on the hair. That's another option to create less tension on your actual hair. For that particular style, because you won't be able to get to your scalp as readily as if you were to do regular crochet braids, I would suggest that you don't wear that style longer than 4 weeks. This hair comes as a bundle, so what you're going to do is actually section it yourself. What you want to do, especially towards the front, is make sure that you use smaller sections so that the hair isn't weighed down, especially when you get close to the edges. What you'll notice as I get closer to the edges of the hair, I use less and less hair. The reason why is because you don't want to pull too much on that section. You also don't want to weigh it down. It will break, and especially on her hair, it will break very easily. The key is knowing what you're working with and how to protect the hair. So when people say protective styling, you absolutely want to protect the hair. It's not a tension packed hairstyle. You want to make sure that you're always protecting the hair and the scalp at all times. If you notice, I have braided a little bit further back from the edge. What you don't want to do is braid directly on the edge and then add crochet hair of any kind, because that area is very sensitive and you can take someone's edges out. I've seen it where someone has put it right on the edge, and then it's like one of those like jumbo twists or something like that, and it rips the hair off. So you want to protect the hair. So make sure that you don't braid directly on the edge of the hair. And she is slaying, honey. Yes.